जय राधे जय कृष्णा जय वृंदावन श्री गोविंद गोपीनाथ मदन मोहन। बोलिए जय राधे जय कृष्णा जय वृंदावन श्री गोविंद गोपीनाथ मदन मोहन। श्याम कुंड राधा कुंड गिरि गोवर्धन कालिंदी यमुना जय जय महावन।
श्याम कुंड राधा कुंड गिरि गोवर्धन
कालिंदी यमुना जय जय। केशी घाट वंशी वट द्वादश खाना यहाँ सभा लीला कोयलो श्री नंदनंदन। नंद यशोदा जय जय गोपगण श्री रामादि जय जय धेनु वत्सगण।
श्रीनंद यशोदा जय जय गोपगण श्री रामादि जय जय
जय वृषभानु जय कीर्तिदा सुंदरी जय पौर्णमासी जय आविर नागरी। जय जय गोपीश्वर वृंदावन माझा जय जय कृष्ण सखा भट्टु द्विजराज। जय राम घाट जय रोहिणी नंदन जय जय वृंदावन वासी जन। जय राम घाट जय रोहिणी नंदन जय जय वृंदावन वासी जन। जय द्विज पत्नी जय नाग कन्यागण भक्ति तेय हारा पैलो गोविंद चरण। श्री रारस मंडल जय जय राधा श्याम जय जय रास लीला सर्व मनोरम। श्री रास मंडल जय जय राधा श्याम जय जयोज्वल रस सर्व रस सार पर किया भावे यहाँ व्रजते प्रचार। श्रीदारा वापाल पद्मा कोरिया स्मरण दीन कृष्ण दास को हे नाम संकीर्तन। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। कृष्णा कृष्णा हरे 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 राम कृष्ण बलराम की, श्री श्री राधा माधव की, श्री श्री राधा श्याम सुंदर की, श्री जानकी जानकी बल लक्ष्मण हनुमान की, श्रीला प्रभुपाद की, गौर भक्त वृंद की। ओम अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुः उन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपः कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम्। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरोः श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगणरघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनासहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगणललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च नमः ॐ विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्तस्वामिनिति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषा शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौरभक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्ण। Prabhu, should I speak in English?
Yes, Prabhu. Hare Krishna. Yes, Prabhu. Prabhu, can I just give a small intro, Prabhu?
Okay.
Minutes?
Yes, Prabhu. Yeah, sure.
Yes, Prabhu. Thank you, Prabhu. So first of all, it's a great pleasure to have His Grace Radhesham Prabhu amidst all of us. So it's a great fortune. So just to give a small introduction about Prabhuji. Prabhuji has done his MTech from IIT Bombay. He's a gold medalist from IIT Bombay. And Prabhuji has been full-time serving the mission of Srila Prabhupada ever since like 1993. And Prabhuji is the president of ISKCON Pune. And then he is one of the board of committee members in the Hyderabad Temple Committee also. And Prabhuji is known for youth preaching. Actually, because of Prabhuji's youth preaching, many IITians, NITians, and many youth have taken to the process of Krishna consciousness. So presenting the Bhagavad Gita philosophy in a very, in a way, even youth are able to understand and practice in their life. So Prabhuji is known for that. So many of us in this group also, we have come to Krishna consciousness through Prabhuji's preaching. So let us welcome His Grace Radhesham Prabhu to our Bhakti Riksha by loudly 3 times chanting Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol.
Hare Krishna. Very happy to be here with all of you. Vimal Prabhu and his good wife have been conducting Bhakti Vriksha for all of you for several years. I was just talking to him in the morning. Prabhuji was telling that many of you are devotees for several years, chanting 16 rounds, coming together, attending the meetings, and chanting your rounds and reading Prabhupada books very sincerely, steadily, along with your family members. You have been practicing Krishna consciousness. I'm very pleased to be with this group of devotees under Vimal Prabhu and his good wife. In our path of bhakti, we all need spiritual strength, and we also need steadiness. Actually, even if there is no steadiness, we feel extremely disturbed. Just like I remember when I was a schoolboy, we went to Kanyakumari. In Kanyakumari, there's a big boat. And myself and my sisters and all, we boarded the boat. Immediately the boat started like this, toppling. It went this way. So we all were thrown to one side of the boat and we started screaming. Whereas the boatman himself, he was not screaming. He would just bend his leg in this way and holding a stick in his hand, or we call it, no? And when the boat would topple like this, then he would move his one leg, he would stretch, and one leg he would bend. He was not at all afraid. He was pretty confident. Why? Because he has practiced rowing the boat for decades. 2-3 decades is experienced. So Srila Prabhupada gives this example of a boat. Boat experiences unsteadiness, sometimes moving this way or that way. Our mind is also like that. Our mind is unsteady. Sometimes we are serious in spiritual life. Sometimes we become weak in spiritual life. Sometimes we are very friendly. Sometimes we are very quarrelsome. Sometimes we are patient, sometimes impatient. Sometimes fired up in spiritual life, sometimes fried out. So we go to the extremes in our life and we lose our steadiness. So we all need steadiness, sthairiam in our spiritual life. Just like when you are driving a cycle and you have a sack of rice or wheat on the backside, sometimes more quantity of rice or wheat goes to one side. Other side becomes less. So the cycle like sort of topples like this. Then what do? And then you stop the cycle and then put equal amount of rice this side and that side in your goding, in your bag. And then you drive the cycle. Similarly, while living in family life, one has to know how to balance family and spiritual life and professional life. So when we are balanced, then we attain steadiness. And that is a endeavor which you have to keep on making throughout life till last breath in our lives. So, and becoming steady in spiritual life becomes easy when we are strong in spiritual life. When we are strong in spiritual life, then we can maintain sattva. But if we are weak in spiritual life, we become tossed by rajas and tamas. In the Srimad Bhagavatam, the example is given that, smoke is better than wood and fire is better than smoke. These 3 examples are given in the Bhagavatam. That means wood, smoke and fire. So plain wood, firewood is compared to tamoguna, and the smoke is compared to rajoguna, and fire is compared to sattva-guna. So in a furnace, Matajis know, in a furnace when there is fire, then the cooking happens very well. And if there is smoke, it troubles. But if there is no smoke, no fire, nothing starts also, it is stagnant completely. So some devotees, due to tamaguna, they may become completely stagnated in spiritual life. Yeah, stagnated water stinks. Like gutter water, if it stagnates, it starts stinking and a lot of mosquitoes come. Similarly, when our spiritual life stagnates, then a lot of mosquito-like material desires will come. Like that, they'll keep on biting us. The material desires will increase in tamaguna. Stagnated water stinks, as I said. And then rajoguna means some activity has started. Smoke is coming. At least something is moving. But then in rajoguna, what happens? People do a lot of services also, devotion service. But they are becoming angry with somebody, envious of somebody, fighting with somebody. Not a very pleasant life. It is a little painful life. At the same time, they are doing service also. Devotion service is supposed to be susukam, kartam avyayam, joyfully performed. But sometimes we don't joyfully perform it because of rajoguna. Apisandaya yohyam sam dambham matsaryam baba samrambi vinnadrik bhavam sa bhakti tamasam uchyate. So in the Bhagavatam, there is a devotion service in tamaguna, rajoguna and sattva-guna. For example, somebody who is violent and angry and proud and separatist mentality. Like that, there are different mentalities given for bhakti in the tamaguna. And rajoguna means fruity mentality. That is compared to smoke. And sattva-guna means fire, full-blown fire. That means the devotee is strong devotee. The firewood is not wet. And the firewood is not causing smoke. Rather, it is producing fire. In that fire, you can cook sabji, you can cook rice, you can cook the items in the kitchen. So we all want to have a steady spiritual life which comes from sattva guna, and that situating ourselves in sattva. It depends on how strong we are in our spiritual practices. Now, when the question may come, then how do we become strong? What is the secret of becoming strong in spiritual life? So Lord Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita to Arjuna, Jnana Asina, the word is using. Jnana Asina means sword of knowledge. Prabhupada published a book with that title, Sword of Knowledge. So why the knowledge is compared to a sword? Yat anudhyasina yukta karma granti nibandanam chindanti kovidastasya ko na kuryat katharathim. See, here is another example here in Bhagavatam. It says, Yat anudhyasina yukta dhyan. If somebody is attentively hearing a lecture about the glories of the Supreme Lord, karma granti nibandanam, it says it can cut our material bondage to pieces. That means all our karma bandhana and past sinful reactions can be cut down to pieces by hearing the katha of the Lord attentively. He is saying, Yat anudhyasina yukta karma granti nibandanam. Chindanti means cut. Kovidastasya. Kovida means intelligent devotees. Kona kuryat katharatim. Who will not take interest in the delightful pastimes of Lord Vasudeva? He's asking. Because simply by sitting and listening to these pastimes and developing a taste for them, one can cut karma bandhana to pieces with a sword of knowledge. That sword of remembrance of the Lord. So, same thing Krishna is saying in the Bhagavad Gita. Asanga shastrena dridhena chitva. There is a tree which is upside down tree. The branches are down and the roots are up. Have you ever seen a tree like that? Where do you find such a tree? Anybody knows? Whose roots are upward, branches are down. Urdhamulam adaha shakam ashvattam prahuravyayam chandamsi yasya parnani yastam veda saveda ved. Roots are upward, branches are downwards. Have you seen such a tree? Where do you see such a tree? Yeah?
The banks.
They can unmute and speak, anybody, if they wish to.
Ravi Prabhu, you want to speak?
Or they have to
Ravi
put it
Prabhu.
in chat or something. Huh?
Shadow in water.
Yeah?
Reflection. Reflection.
Correct. Reflection. That's true. The reflection in the water, there you find. So there is a tree with mango, and the reflection, the water also is having a mango, which is not something which will satisfy us. It looks like a mango, it doesn't satisfy us. And that is material world. See, material world is a place where there is happiness, but it's called mixed happiness. What is mixed happiness? In material world, you get sweet rice, but mixed with stone particles and sand particles. But somebody says, no, I don't. Actually, when you put the sweet rice in the mouth, it is little sweet. And then you continue tasting it, then stone comes like that. Then you hate it. Oh, this is very bad. At the same time, you can't spit it also because it's sweet also. It's enjoyable also and it is suffering also. It's a mixed. Sometimes we get confused. Am I enjoying in the material world or suffering? Like while eating too much prasad, we are enjoying. But after eating, we suffer. Correct now? So it's a mixture in this world. But if you want only sweet rice and no more stone particles, for that we have to go back home from Bhuloka to Goloka. Go back home, back to Godhead. Then we have no more suffering. So, therefore, the upside down tree is the material world. The real tree is the spiritual world. So he says, take the sword of knowledge and cut the upside down tree and go back home, back to Godhead, which is the original tree. Vrikshayi vastabdo dividishtatyekas tenedam purnam purushena sarvam. See here it says, tenedam purnam purushena, means Purna Purusha is Krishna. Yasmat param na paramasti kinchit. There is no one beyond him. Yasman naniyo jo yosti kinchit. There is no one smaller than him or bigger than him. Vrikshayi vastabdo. He stands in the spiritual world like a tree. Why tree? Because a tree is in one place, but it spreads the branches, spreads the leaves, spreads the flowers, spreads the fruits and everything. Like that, Krishna is in spiritual world, but Goloka Nivasati, Akilatma Bhuto. He is expanding his energies all over the material world. Therefore, he is compared to tree. Vrikshayi vastabdo dividishtati ekas tenedam purnam purushena sarvam. He is the Purna Purusha, Purna Purushottama, Lord Krishna. Just like Ekadesha Sitasya Agner, in one place, if you keep a lamp in a dark room, it spreads the light everywhere. Like that, Krishna is in spiritual world, but he spreads his energies everywhere. Like that it is mentioned. So, Tenedam Purnam Purushena Sarvam. So we understand that the spiritual world is a real tree and the material world is upside down tree. Therefore, we have mixed happiness in this world. So some happiness, like somebody wants to have a baby, newborn baby, when husband and wife are wedded and after 2-3 years they get a baby, they're very happy. Oh, we got a baby. And the baby is completely obedient. Then they feel great joy. But after the child crosses 12 or 14, 15 years, he doesn't obey the parents. Then they become miserable. Because they wonder, hey, the child was so obedient, now the child doesn't listen to us. They become miserable. So in this way, you find in this world, there's a combination of happiness and distress. But spiritual world is a place of everlasting happiness. So Krishna says, take this sword of knowledge and cut this upside down tree and go to the original tree where you get original mangoes. Then you will be happy forever, he says. But here comes the point. Krishna is ready to give us a sword, but the question is, do I have the strength to accept the sword? If you see Shivaji Maharaj or Mysore Maharaj also, in Mysore there were kings. If you go to the museum, you find their swords kept there. You can't even move the sword. It is so heavy. So heavy. What to speak of lifting it? We tried to lift it with both the hands. Immediately we put it down. It was so heavy. It's made of iron, very heavy iron. We don't know how these kings not only lifted the sword, they fought with those swords. I heard that Shivaji Maharaj, whenever he would go for any battle, he would jump from a higher platform, like the first floor or something. From there, he would jump onto the horse. But along with all the armor, along with the sword in the hand, he would jump on the horse. You can imagine how strong the horse must be. In today's horse will collapse on the ground. Is it not true? Somebody jumps on him with so much weight. And all the weight in his body with the sword, everything will be like, 250 pounds or something like that, 200 pounds, very heavy duty material in the body. So, lifting the sword of a king is difficult for us. In the same manner, the knowledge which Krishna is giving, everybody is not able to digest. Many people don't want to hear Bhagavad Gita, they run away. Therefore, in ISKCON, people, first thing they like the most is prasadam. After prasad, the second thing they like the most is kirtan. Lastly, some people sit for the lecture. So we had one Rath Yatra in Pune, So we were wondering, when the lecture starts, people don't sit, they go away. So we told Param Lokanath Maharaj had come. We told Maharaj, how to hold the people? Maharaj said, don't worry, I will hold. So Maharaj started sweet kirtan. Everybody sat down with their family, husband, wife, children, everybody. And after 10 minutes kirtan, Maharaj started the talk. People are slowly getting up. After 5-minute talk, Maharaj again started kirtan. Again people sat down. Some people went little bit and they came back and sat. Again kirtan is. So in this way, Maharaj tricked them to hear about 40 minutes lecture. 5-minute lecture and in between kirtan. So everybody sat through fully. So the whole idea is, this knowledge, many jivas are not able to digest, unwilling to take it, spiritual knowledge, although it is the most essential knowledge. What is this body? This body is simply like a shirt. Just like I am wearing a shirt now. If I remove the shirt and put it in a hanger, this shirt will appear like a body because it has 2 hands. Correct? Now it has a body also, it has 2 hands also looks like, but it doesn't have any substance. Because inside the kurta there is nobody when you are putting it in a hanger. But when a person wears it, then the person is there. Similarly, when the Atma is present in the body has value. Otherwise, when the Atma quits the body, nobody cherishes the body anymore. They feed it to the fire. So, although it's a very fundamental knowledge to begin with, many people are not willing to even make a beginning. So, therefore, we all need the strength in spiritual life to be able to hold the sword of knowledge. And that strength is given by Balramji. So Krishna gives the sword of knowledge and Balram gives the strength to lift the sword of knowledge. And then we can cut all the illusion to pieces. Then we can become blissful devotees. No more smoke. There will only be fire. Fiery devotee, spirited devotee. So, Balramji plays a very important role in Lord Krishna's pastimes. Because whenever you come across any festival throughout the year, we should try to understand the personality very well. Hear the pastimes about them, hear their qualities, hear what mercy we can tap from them. we can get for our spiritual life, so that we take advantage of the mercy coming from their personality, and we make our spiritual life a little more better every year. Somebody may say, oh, Janmashtami, we know what is Janmashtami. Every year comes, Krishna appears. Okay, Krishna is appearing. What do you know about Krishna's appearance? If you all ask ourselves, every year, bit by bit, we can learn more. There is so much to know about Krishna's appearance. The Shastras are oceanic, and Acharya's commentaries are even bigger ocean. So if we can learn about the personality and how to pray to the personality and how to receive that mercy, then our spiritual life should blossom and get little more better than it was previously. And why is it of interest to us? Because by taking to spiritual life, the smoke will be gone, the fire will be born. So when the smoke is gone, like we say, no, prema bhakti yaha hoite, avidya vinasha jate. Avidya is smoke and prema bhakti is like fire. When that prema bhakti arises, we will become very happy, and we will also make everyone else around us happy also. Therefore, we want to become fiery spirited devotees in spiritual life. So, and Balramji will give us the strength. And how does Balramji come in our lives? Balramji comes as the Guru. So, Gurus who are offering Diksha and Gurus who are offering Shiksha, these people actually are empowered by the Guru Parampara. They are coming in the disciplic line, and beginning with Balramji, he is giving that inspiration, that strength. Not only these people have the strength to hold the knowledge, they have the strength to shelter hundreds and thousands of people and carry them all back home, back to Godhead. They have that type of strength, tremendous strength. Generally, the word Bala, when you talk about power, there are different types of power. There is physical power, which many Palavans have. Then there is financial power. Some people are very rich people. Then there is an emotional power. Some cinema actors, actresses are drawing the emotion of the public, or cricketers, or great singers. And they churn the emotion in the heart of the people, and they get millions of fans. In the YouTube, you will find many people have millions of fans. So they are emotional power they have. Then there are people with intellectual power. Intellectual power is power by which scientists like Thomas Alva Edison invented more than 2000. Or similarly, the Einstein Stevenson became genius of the century. They all have intellectual power. Great scholars and everybody. Similarly, there is political power. Political power means a person who has influence over people, influence over government, influence over money, and he can move things with influence, political power. Beyond all these things, there is something called sacred power, which is piety. Vipra dharma achyuta ashraya. Like that in the Bhagavatam, it says that that's power of piety. If you dharmo rakshati rakshataha, we say, no? If you follow dharma today, dharma will protect you tomorrow. One has a firm faith in this fact. You walk the path of dharma today. Like recently I heard a pastime, one Sri Vaishnava was speaking on, what happens if you don't do Gayatri 3 times a day? Some of you may be Brahmanas. If you don't do Gayatri, he said by doing Gayatri, wife will not get rheumatism or arthritis. Really, husband does Gayatri and wife doesn't get arthritis. What is the connection? So then he was telling a story from Ramayana. In Ramayana, there was a king called Kushanaba. He had 100 daughters, and they all had gone to a riverside to play. And Vayudev was roaming around, and seeing these young, beautiful girls, he wanted to enjoy them. He told all of them, he was like a rowdy moving around, and said, I want to marry all of you, he was telling. And they said, hey, don't talk to us. If you want to marry us, you should go to our father. He is our Bharta. Don't hang around here where we are playing. They said, go out of here. So Vayu became angry. You mean to say you are not interested in me? Just see what I do. So he entered into their nose and ears and mouth and into their bodies and caused twisting and turning of the bodies, like Kubja was there, like the body became very twisted like this. And all these girls cried. And somehow or other they rolled on the ground and reached home. Kushanaba saw them and said, my dear daughters, don't worry. You have walked the path of dharma. You told him the right thing. For marriage, Panigrahanam, the father should be involved there. So you did the right thing. You have nothing to worry. Krishna will protect you. And he kept all of them in Tokri. Tokri means like baskets. 100 baskets he kept them. And then when their marriageable age came, he announced, I have 100 daughters who are all hunchbacked women. If anybody wishes to marry, can marry. Do you think anybody will come forward to marry such hunchbacked women? Every man is thinking, I will get a young, slim, beautiful, handsome, good-looking woman who will satisfy me. So who will come and marry? But there was one man who was ready to marry. His name was Brahmadatta. He was the son of one Chuli, very great sage. And he came forward. And the whole world was amazed. How is this fellow ready to marry this 100 hunchbacked women? So on the day of marriage, when he married them, one by one, the Panigrahanam was done. As soon as he would touch the hand of the girl, she would immediately turn into a beautiful Apsara. Immediately, all 100 of them turned into extremely exquisite, beautiful women. Everybody was stunned. And the secret, they asked him, how is it by your touch they are all becoming so beautiful? He said, I do Gayatri 3 times a day perfectly. He said, that is my strength. So if you follow the path of Dharma strictly, and that pays in the long run, like that. So that is called sacred power. But beyond sacred power is divine power. What is divine power? And that divine power is given by Balram. And Balram gives divine power to Acharyas, Vaishnava Acharyas. And also all those who are faithfully following the Guru Parampara, they also get the power to relish Krishna consciousness, to preach and propagate Krishna consciousness, and to shelter people and take them ahead in spiritual life for their whole life. That strength is actually divine power, which is given by those. Actually, when we have some divine power, what should we think? We should think that the Guru Parampara's strength is working through me and making me an instrument. I am very grateful to them. That is one thing we can feel that. And the second thing is, I should always faithfully align with the Guru Parampara, because the more I bow down and salute and align gratefully, the more the divine power will work through me. Like Prahlad Maharaj is called as a superconductor. Why superconductor? If any of you have studied electricity, you will know it. In electricity, there is a term called resistance, we call it. Ohm, they say, no? 5 ohm, 10 ohm, they say. If the resistance is more, will electricity flow be less or more? Less. Flow of electricity will be less. If the resistance is less, flow of electricity will be more. Similarly, very simple phenomenon. In a tap also, for example, if there is a pipe where water is going, if there are some stones in between blocking the tap, water flow will be reduced or increased? Reduced. Similarly, Prahlad Maharaj had how much resistance for Krishna's mercy to flow? 0 resistance. Therefore, he is called superconductor. All the mercy flew through him. Even demoniac boys became devotees. So we also in our lives can become like following the footsteps of Prahlad. We can reduce the resistance at least. And the resistance comes from false ego. Resistance comes from our own false ego and impurities in the mind, our own unwillingness to surrender. Bado dukha paiyachi swatantra jivane dukha dure gelo opadavarane. So to a degree, we align with the Guru Parampara and allow that mercy to flow through us, and we don't pose any resistance, then we will become empowered, like iron rod put in fire, becomes fiery, electrified, isn't it? So Balramji can use us as an instrument through the agency of the Guru Parampara and provide us the strength. And by the strength, I told you, by the strength you will get steadiness. By the strength, we will be able to joyfully practice. There is no more smoke. It will be a fiery spirit will awaken in us. And more, like Prahlad and Dhruva and all got empowered. Srila Prabhupada, they all got empowered. We can let the Lord work through. So that is the significance of Balramji. He is one of the immediate expansions of the Lord. And because I have been talking about the strength and the Guru, I will tell you a little bit more in the same direction instead of delving into other pastimes. I can tell you several examples from Balram's expansions for how he is the Adi Guru. Like you see, he is the Adi Guru coming to an assembly where Roma Harshana Sutta was sitting on an elevated Vyasasana, about to begin a Srimad Bhagavatam class. But when Balramji came, everybody got up and offered obeisances to him. With folded palms they stood. But the Ramakrishna Sutta neglected him completely, ignored him. He was very proud. You see, the Srimad Bhagavatam, it is said, he is a disciple of Veda Vyas. So, and he is also he is learned in not only the Vedas, he is learned in all the Upanishads, the Puranas, the Upavedas, Vedanta. He learned in everything. Very great scholar. But there are two words used there. Adantasya, avinitasya, it is said. He was uncontrolled in his senses and he was not humble, it is said. That means, because he was uncontrolled in his senses, he became arrogant and he thought himself very great, proud, and he was avinitasya. It is said, he didn't at least he didn't even fold the palms. He didn't even stand up. He didn't even bow down. He could even offer a garland to Balaramji and praise him. Actually, there are many steps we do in order to show our respect and affection and gratitude to great personalities. Like, for example, we may fold the palms, we may bow our head, we may offer obeisances, we may offer a garland, we may offer words of praise. By all these things, we express our heart to them. So our Ramakrishna Sutta did not do those things. He was totally neglected. And the result was, Balaramji came forward with a piece of grass and touched his head. As soon as he touched, on the spot Ramakrishna died. Hi, everybody shouted, all the Brahmanas. What happened? He is our Bhagavatam speaker. He's supposed to speak Bhagavatam for 1,000 years, which is supposed to continue. Then all the Brahmanas came to Balramji. Balram said, they told Balramji, oh great Lord, you know what is best for everybody, but then you have killed this great personality. So now from whom will we hear? It's a great loss for us. Then Balramji said, okay, if you so wish, I can again bring him back to life. Because Balramji is capable. He can make a person lose life. He can also give him life back. They said, no. Whatever you wish to do, that should happen. We don't want to force you to do anything. But you please empower his son, Sutta Goswami. So let him become the Bhagavatam speaker for all of us. We will hear. And then, so Balramji blessed that boy, Sutta Goswami. So Sutta Goswami went on to become a great speaker. Daushkulyamadim vidunoti shigram. He says that, although I was born to Ramakrishna Sutta in a Pratiloma marriage means husband is of an inferior caste and wife is of a superior caste. That's called Pratiloma marriage. Although I am born of a family, of Pratiloma family, some impurity clings on to me due to that. But I got the shelter of Shukadeva Goswami, who is a very great soul. Yam prabrajantam anupetam upeta krityam dvaipayano birahakatara ajuhava putreti tanmayataya taravo binedustam sarva bhuta hridayam munimanatosmi yasvana bhavam akilashtuti saramekam adhyatma deepamati tirshatam tamandham samsarinam karunayaha purana guhyam tam vyasa sonam upayami gurum muninam. In these two verses, beautiful verses, Sutta Goswami is talking about his Guru Shukadev. And one verse is saying, as soon as he was born, even no, the Yajnopavita and all were not done. He never went to Gurukula also. Straight he went to forest. And his father Vedavyas was running behind him, Putra Putra calling him, and all the trees also echoed the sound. This is Shukadeva. Goswami was so detached, so renounced, such an exalted personality. Vyasa Sonam, Upayami. I bow down my head to the son of Vyasadeva, he says. And then another verse he says, Yasvana Bhava Makila Shruti Saram Ekam Adhyatma Deepam. He's saying the lamplight of wisdom of the Srimad Bhagavatam. He had not only mastered it, he had experienced it. Yasva Anubhava, Yasva Anubhavam Akila Shruti Saram Ekam. He is a realized personality in that. And for Samsarinam Karunayaha, out of compassion, he has come in this world to deliver the world by speaking the Srimad Bhagavatam. To him I bow down, he says. So this Sutta Goswami became a very, very humble boy, humble son of Ramakrishna Sutta. And he was actually greatly empowered by Shukadeva Goswami. If you read the 12th canto, Srimad Bhagavatam, while giving the lecture to Parikshit, Shukadeva Goswami is telling one verse. It's a 25th verse, I think. The last but one verse, I think, in the 12th canto, which chapter I have to see it. So in that verse, he is saying, in this great assembly where Parikshit is the chief audience, sitting and hearing, Shukadeva Goswami is saying, you all can see there is one Sutta Goswami sitting there. He will be speaking this Srimad Bhagavatam in future, to a large number of audience of Shaunaka Rishis. This prophecy was spoken by Shukadeva Goswami about Sutta Goswami. You will see that. It is already predicted before. So he went on to become, that means he was empowered very beautifully. So while Ramaharshana was disempowered, his son Sutta Goswami was empowered. You can see that by the Shakti to speak the Bhagavatam and benefit the world. Like that, you can see that. So here we can see Balramji is capable of taking away life and giving life. So Balramji is teaching the world as Adi Guru that how one should give up pride and one should control one's senses. Actually, in this way, the Adi Guru teaches many lessons. Another place I'll tell you. When Krishna becomes Rama, Balram becomes Lakshman. When Krishna becomes Narayana, Balram becomes Adishesh, or Ananta Shesh, as we call it. So the word Shesh means Baki. Why the word Shesh is used? There is a reason for that. See, whenever there is a festival like Janmashtami or Prabhupada festival or anything, what is the most difficult service? All day people will come and enjoy the darshan, abhishek, nice prasad, everything. But at night, 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock, you will see some fellows who will be doing the winding up in the night. The winding up everything after the festival is over, cleaning everything, that place. It takes almost 3, 4, 5 hours in the night. And these guys will keep awake whole night. And they'll put all the things in that, and the Pandal Wale people, they'll put everything and take it, correct, no? So whatever Baki service is remaining, these guys will do, and that's the most tough service because everybody want to sleep at that time. Correct, no? So Ananta Shesh means that is the kind of service Shesh does. Shesh means if all other devotees say that now I have to go to sleep, then Shesh will do the balance service. How he does? When he comes as Lakshman, he took a Shapat. 14 years, I will not sleep till Lord Ram comes back to Ayodhya, he said. When Nidra Devi came to him, she said, hey, how can you say that? And I put everyone in sleep every day night. How can you say that you will not sleep for 14 years? If you say so, then you have to hand over your sleep to somebody else. And then I can go there. Then he decided, I'll give my sleep to my wife Urmila, because she's weeping that I am going to forest. In my absence, she will be feeling Viraha Bhavana. So then he gave it to Urmila. So Urmila was sleeping 14 years. So his sleep she took. And then Lakshman didn't sleep at all. He was rendering service continuously for Lord Ram, Sita Ram, for 14 years. Which means you can see his Seva Bhav. He took them to, and the Panchavati, the kutir was made. Lord Rama, Sita Ram would be sleeping at night, and Lakshman would go round and round with the bow and arrow and would be offering protection to them. Therefore it's called Shesh. So Lakshman is also Adi Guru, like Balram is. Same personality. How do you know that? When the 4 months of Chaturmasa passed, at that time Sugriva was made the king, as you all know. Sugriva completely forgot his promise to Lord Rama. He was having dozens of lady monkeys sitting with him in the court, and they were all playing different instruments, jal and different instruments, and some of them were dancing, some of them were sitting and singing, and he was enjoying their company. And he was also fully drunken in liquor, and his 2 eyeballs were rolling. And he would drink, he would enjoy with those lady monkeys, and he would go to sleep, and he was spending his days like that. And whenever people do sense gratification, now you can tell me, does the time go slow or time goes fast? Yeah, any of you?
First.
In sense gratification, time goes very slow or very fast?
Very fast.
Very fast.
Very fast. 4 months were like 4 moments for him. That went very fast. He didn't realize only. Now, the Sharad Rutu started, sun is shining in the sky, the ground is crisp, everything is bright now, lit up, there is no more clouds in the sky. Lord Rama saw 20 days are over after the Sharad Rutu started, autumn season. Why? That monkey has forgotten his obligation, duty. He called Lakshman and said, Lakshman, what is happening? Lakshman said, I'll go right now and kill him now and come back, he said. That Ram said, if you kill him, then how the work will be done? Because we have to find out Sita. So please don't kill him. Explain to him properly and bring him. Then when Lakshman went, at that time the news came, many monkeys saw Lakshman walking in an angry mood. His eyes were bloodshot, carrying bow and arrow. They picked up boulders. Hey, who is this fellow? He's becoming so angry. When Lakshman would look at them, they would drop the boulders and run away, the Vanaras. And then they were all standing outside the palace watching him. And Lakshman stood in front of the palace and twanged his bow. Dad, 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 dad. So when that was heard, all the ministers ran to Sugriva, who was lying down in the bed, sleeping after drinking at night, and early morning he was sleeping in the bed for late in the morning, not rising in Brahma Muhurt. So the ministers went around him and they were repeatedly evoking him, waking him up. But he wouldn't. Then they told the Angada, hey Angada, you wake up. Then Angada went and massaged his feet. Still that fellow would turn around, not get up. And Hanuman came there and said, Sugriva, please see, Lakshman is in an angry mood. He has come to kill you, he said. Then he jumped up from his bed. Really? You want to kill me? What is the matter? Then he told that you have forgotten your duty. You promised Ram that as soon as Chaturmas is over, you will come. Now Chaturmas got over long before and you have forgotten your duty. So Lakshman has come in an angry mood. Then Sugriva said, my lord, you send Tara outside first. Tara is a she-monkey, Bali's wife. So when she came out, Lakshman immediately put his head down. And then Tara spoke to him. You see, Lakshman, in this world, the people who are stupid in sense gratification often forget their spiritual duties. They become carried away by the current of Maya. And she said, even great sages sometimes, like Vishwamitra and all, I have seen to be falling down due to the sense pleasures, which are petty pleasures, insignificant pleasures, foolish pleasures. Like sometimes a fish is living in a puddle of water during the rainy season. He's very happy in that puddle of water. But when autumn season comes, the water will dry up. Then the fish will die. But the foolish fish doesn't want to go to the ocean. If the fish simply, goes with the river, he can reach the ocean. So the river is like the association of devotees. If you join the association of devotees as a fish, you will reach the ocean of God, love of God. Once you attain love of God, there is no dearth of water. But if you don't join the devotee Sangha, if we remain like a fish in the puddle of water, which means in our own pool of sense gratification, little pleasures, petty pleasures, we are stuck in that. When the Sharadruta comes, that water will dry up and the fish will perish. Correct? Now that's how people in this world are suffering when they are remaining in a small puddle of water of sense gratification. So she was telling how even this monkey actually don't think he is ungrateful. He has gratitude, but he has become carried away by sense gratification. And now you have come to wake him up. He has developed fear for you. Don't worry. He will very soon come and oblige. And he has already told the ministers to arrange for the monkeys to come here. So then Lakshman became pacified. Then Sugriva came and bowed down to Lakshman and promised Lakshman that, definitely I will get into action now. I will do it. So then Sugriva sought forgiveness and Lakshman also sought forgiveness. Lakshman said, I probably horrified you too much. I am sorry. Sugriva said, no, I am sorry that I had become a little careless in my duty. So here is the example of Lakshman coming and waking up the sleeping soul. Jiva Jago, Gaur Chandra Bole. So his Adi Guru is waking up the Jiva. That's the point here. So like you all know, now let me ask a question to you. There are two people in the womb who, remembered the Lord, and after coming out also, they never forgot the Lord. Whereas the ordinary jivas, when they are in the womb, they pray to Lord, oh Lord, please bring me out. I'll be grateful to you. I will worship you. Bhajimo boliya yese samsara vitore bhuliya rohile tumi avidyara bhare. He says, we generally tend to forget when they come out of the womb. But two children in the womb, they remembered the Lord when they came out, they didn't forget. Let us see who can say. Who are those two children?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dhanat
Yeah.
Pranam Prabhuji.
Yeah.
Prahlad Maharaj and Sukdev Goswami.
Okay. Oh, then there are three, not two. One is Shukdev Goswami, then Prahlad. There is one more. Parikshit, correct.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Parikshit
Hare
Maharaj,
Krishna
yeah.
Prabhu. Parikshit Maharaj.
Parikshit, yeah, correct. So in this material world, the principle of forgetfulness is very strong in the material world, but not for sincere and serious devotees. Very seriously practicing devotees will never forget the Lord for a moment also. Nitya Siddha Bhaktas never forget the Lord even for a moment. While in the womb, they remembered the Lord. When they came out, they remembered the Lord. And in case we don't remember the Lord, we become forgetful. Then Adi Guru will come, like twanging the bow, dhar, 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 like he was waking up our Sugriva. He will also wake up the sleeping souls in this world. So this is also, Lakshman coming as a guru, I told you. In the same manner, when the same Lord Balram comes as Ananta Shesha. Ananta Shesha is actually also Adi Guru. And who is Ananta Shesha's famous devotee? Anybody knows? Most famous devotee, topmost Vaishnava devotee of Ananta Shesh or Sankarshan.
Lord Shiva.
Lord Shiva, correct. Priyasa Sakhihu, Kshanasangamayan. In that verse they are saying Charachara Gurum, Muninam Gurum. It's called Charachara Guru, means Guru of the whole universe is Shiva. So when Lord Shiva does Tandav at the time of Pralayakal, that time Ananta Shesh emanates fire. And that fire is called Kala Agni. Kala Agni. So the Kala Agni is same as Shiva also. Shiva is doing Tandav and the Agni is coming out of the mouth of Ananta Shesh. So the master and servant are destroying the universe. Master is Ananta Shesh and servant is Shiva. Shiva does Tandav with fire in his hands and Ananta Shesh is emanating fire. Namaste yastu bhagavan vishveshwaraya mahadevaya triyam bhagaya triburantagaya trikalagnikalaya kalagnirudraya mrityunjayaya sarveshwaraya namaha. This is from Yajurveda. So this says here that Kalagni Rudraya, it says that Kalagni is emanated by Ananta Shesha, which scorches all the planetary systems up to Janaloka. Up to Janaloka, the planets are all scorched and dried up. After that, the Pralaya waters, rise. In that scorching of the heat only, most living entities will be dead and gone. If somebody survived, then the Pralaya waters goes up. From the Garbhodak ocean, the water level rises, and then it Pralaya waters devastates the universe, as you all know. And people in Janaloka go to Tapaloka. Pahimam, Rakshamam, they are all offering prayers to Lord. Of course, Tapaloka, Satyaloka are not touched because there are very, very saintly, advanced, pure devotees or great rishis living there who directly go back to Godhead at the end of the universe. So that is not touched. Otherwise, below all the living entities are all karmis, jnanis, yogis, and sense gratifiers. Pralaya, this kind of thing is done. So now you may wonder why the Ananta Shesh is emanating fire. So Ananta Shesh is also Balram only, but his anger is explained in the Srimad Bhagavatam. Why is he angry? The living entities have not taken advantage of the opportunity given to them in the human form of life. They have wasted the human form of life till the end of Kali Yuga. Therefore, he is very upset. He says, you foolish living entities, chance was given to you to become Krishna conscious. You didn't become Krishna conscious. You simply wasted the human body. Therefore, it is said, use it or lose it. Just like, imagine I take a car to go from, say, Hyderabad to Warangal or somewhere. Morning, I take the car and I tell the fellow that, for one day I want to book the car. So the night you can take it. Night 8 o'clock you can take it back. So I am paying some 5,000 rupees. But all day I was preoccupied in my computer with different work. I didn't use the car. What will happen night 8 o'clock? He will come to take the car. He may say, oh sorry, I didn't get time to go to Warangal and come. I had some work to do. I may say. But what he will say? Sorry, the time is up. You didn't use the car. You could have used it. You didn't use it. So now it's my time to take it back. Similarly, human body is awarded to us. We can use this human body to chant the holy name and purify our heart. And if we don't do that, lose it. Use it or lose it. Then we lose it. Then we don't know when will we get the human body again. So therefore it is said in English, make hay while the sun shines. It is said. Make hay while the sun shines means when hit the rod when it is hot. It is said. So now we have the human body and we have the sufficient intelligence to understand all this knowledge. One should actually cultivate the knowledge. One should chant the holy name. One should live in the company of devotees. And as I told you, the fishes should join the river and reach the ocean. And then they are safe go back to Godhead, then you are safe. When we shouldn't be stuck in the puddles of water of sense gratification in this material world. So that's a lesson we learn. So in this way, Lord Nityananda comes in this age. The same Lord Nityananda, who is Balaram, is also Adi Guru. Therefore, you will find, without Nitai's mercy, one cannot get Gauranga's mercy, it is said. So therefore it is said in that Nitai Pada Kamala Koti Chandra Sushitala. There he says, Nitai Charana Satya, Tahara Sevaka Nitya. He's saying that the only ultimate truth is the lotus feet of the spiritual master, who is representative of Nityananda Prabhu. And that is the unchanging phenomenon in this life. We all accumulate goods, they will be left behind. We accumulate bungalows, laptops, cars, bank balances, everything will be left behind. But the lotus feet of Guru, which we have received in this life, and the shelter we have received from him, by which we achieved our connection with Krishna and Guru and Sadhu and Shastra, that is the eternal principle, undying principle. So therefore it is said, Nitai Charana Satya Tahara Sevaka Nitya. We are eternally his servants. So one should actually keep this in mind and not fall into the trap of Asatyara Satyakori Mani, he's saying. That's the meaning of moha, illusion. Don't consider the temporary things to be permanent. Don't think the pain-producing things to be pleasure-producing. That's called moha. So he's warning actually that. So Lord Nityananda Prabhu, such an amazing personality he is. See, Balram and Nityananda both will appear to be angry, but never think they are angry. For example, once Shivananda Sen was a manager of the yatra. He was a little late at Tolnaka, he was stopped. Due to which he was a little late. Nityananda was waiting under a tree and Vaishnavas are all waiting under different trees. Accommodation is not arranged, prasadam is not arranged. So Nityananda Prabhu was telling our Shivan Sen's wife that, look at this fellow, he has delayed the prasad and accommodation for all the Vaishnavas. I curse his 3 children to die. Like that he said, and the wife started loudly crying. When Shivananda Sen came back, she loudly cried and told her husband, this is what Nityananda ji, he spoke about you. And immediately when Nityananda offered obeisances and he got up, and Nityananda gave a kick in his chest. At that time, our Shivananda Sen said, my lord, the dust of your feet, it's called Koti Chandra Sushitala. Your lotus feet emanates cooling moonshine of millions of moons. And I am getting it on my chest, the dust of your feet. How blessed I am, how fortunate I am. When he said that, Nityananda loudly laughed and embraced Shivananda Sen. And of course, those children never died. They lived a long, long life. So the idea is what? Our Nityananda appears to be angry. Similarly, Balramji also appears to be angry with Romaharshana Sutta, or is taking the hull and hitting Rukmi and killing him. So it may appear that Balramji becomes upset or angry, but one should never misunderstand him. Therefore it is said, Akrodha Paramananda Nityananda Ram Abhimana Shunya Nitai Nagare Bedai Adama Patita Jiver Dware Dware Giya Hari Rama Maha Mantra Deno Biloya. He says here, Akrodha Paramananda Nityananda Ram. Lord Balaram is always in Paramananda. He is always situated in bliss. His anger is superficial. Don't take his anger seriously. Just like when he killed Romaharshana Sutta, he immediately told Brahmanas, I can bring him back to life immediately. That is his power. Similarly, Nityananda Prabhu's anger is superficial. Don't offend him by thinking he is angry. Similarly, Guru's chastisement for the disciple is ultimately for the welfare of the disciple. It is not to harm the disciple. Just like Prabhupada was in Amsterdam temple, there were a lot of mistakes they committed. Prabhupada wanted, how is it that you people are doing yajna? There are no fruits kept around the yajna kunda. Get the fruits, he said. So some devotee very nicely cut all the apple and oranges, everything, and put it in a custard, and along with milk he brought in. Prabhupada would like to eat some fruit, fruit mix. Prabhupada said, not for eating, I wanted full fruits, uncut fruits. You have to keep it in the yajna kund. You are giving me cut fruits, it's not for my eating. I am sitting in the yajna, this thing. Shall I go and bring full fruits, he said. And then similarly Prabhupada then asked, but where is Pushp? He said, there is no flower. So somebody went to kitchen and brought a pushpanna rice, because devotees in ISKCON in those days knew the pushpanna means particular variety of rice which they used to cook. Huh? What do you call that? And this is pushpanna is actually a particular type of rice. So Prabhupada said, not this, I'm asking for flowers, he said. Then they brought the flowers. And then Prabhupada asked, is everything ready in the altar? Can we start the work? So they said, Prabhupada, they are still arranging. They have made a slab and the pillars. There is something to be set now. Prabhupada went inside to see. And then he was standing and watching. These guys had put the pillar, but they had not fitted it properly. So when the devotees were adjusting the pillar, the two pillars, they bent like this. And the whole canopy in the top was like falling on the deity. Deity was below. Prabhupada immediately went and gave his shoulder and caught hold of that, that canopy from falling. Can you imagine how heavy it will be? And Prabhupada supported it. It was all made in marble, different things. Prabhupada, the old man, he supported it. And he scolded the devotee, remove the deities, he said. It's dangerous to keep the deity under a falling canopy like this. Then they were taking out the pillar. One fellow was walking, second fellow took the pillar, he was walking. Then behind that, other 4 devotees took the canopy and were walking. Behind that, they were walking with deities. And Prabhupada was scolding them, and all that came in the live TV. Everything was being telecasted. As if it is a part of the ceremony, they were thinking all this is being taken. Prabhupada was scolding the devotees. You can't afford to be careless. First to fix the canopy and think, well, then the deity should be brought. I told them. So devotees thought we have really upset Prabhupada the most. But then after the function, Prabhupada went to his room. He was sitting like this. He was keeping his knee like, he was doing like this, and he was singing Parama Karuna very happily. Parama Karuna Pahudu Idana Nitai Gaura Chandra. So Prabhupada was smiling and just, he was going back and forth like this. Then when devotees went to seek forgiveness from him, he was just smiling. Prabhupada said, oh, your Gaurnita deities are so beautiful here, he was telling. So then the devotees said, Prabhupada's anger was like the waves in the top of an ocean. But deep in the ocean is very calm. Similarly, Nitai's anger or Balram's anger or Guru's anger is ultimately for the welfare of the disciple. And they have no hatred towards anybody. Therefore it is said, Akrodha Paramananda, Nityananda Ram, Abhimana Shunya. Abhimana Shunya, they have no pride at all. One shouldn't think he is proud, that's an offense. Abhimana Shunya Nitai, Nagare Bedai. Like Prabhupada would sometimes travel in Rolls Royce, sometimes in Cadillac. So some staff reporters would ask, Swamiji, you travel in a Rolls Royce. Prabhupada said, whatever car my disciples take me in, I go. If they have only Bullock cart, I'll go in Bullock cart. If they have Rolls Royce, I'll go in Rolls Royce. I have to go for preaching. You take me in. I had no vehicle to come from India to America. I came in a cargo ship in a Jaladuta, which is not meant for human travel. It's only meant for cargo. But I didn't have money. I didn't have anybody to arrange my flight ticket. So I came by cargo ship. Now my disciples are arranging my flight ticket. So I go in flight because I have to quickly travel here and there and reach Krishna consciousnness. It hardly matters for me whether I go in a costly car or a cheap car. See, for us, Maruti and Benz makes difference. You all agree? Any of you here, you feel Prabhu's, you feel that Prabhuji, for me, Maruti and Benz are all same. You feel like that? So it makes a difference for us due to our conditioned state. But liberated souls, actually, they have no pride in traveling in any big cars. It hardly matters for them. So, therefore it is said, Akrodha Paramananda Nityananda Ram, Abhimana Shunya Nitai, Nagare Bedai. And what he does? Adama Patita Jiver Dware Dware Giya Hari Nama Maha Mantra Deno Bilaya. He goes home to home, door to door, and batters the door and requests them, please chant Hare Krishna. That's all he is requesting. And then he is saying, Jare deke tare kohe dante trina dhori amare kiniya loho bhaja gaura hari. At that time in Balaram, he took a grass and touched Ramakrishna on the head and killed him on the spot to teach him a lesson. But he took the same grass in his mouth now and he bowed down to the people and begged them, please chant Hare Krishna. The same Balramji, when he comes as Nitai, he is so humble. He is saying that, Jare deke tare kohe dante trina dhori amare kiniyaloho, please purchase me by chanting Lord Gauranga's names. Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhara, Shivasadi, Gaur Bhakta, and Hare Krishna mantra. You chant, and you can purchase me, he says. Tare deke tare kohe danta trina dori, amare ki niya logo bhaja gaura hari. Yetavale Nityananda bhume gadi jai, sonara parvata jeno dhulate lotai. He was like a golden mountain, his body was very beautifully shining. Tall personality like Gauranga Mahaprabhu and Nityananda, they both were very similar. Now he was rolling on the ground. Actually, when he would do that, first he would go to home and bat at the door. People would come out and he would tell them, we don't want anything. Bolo Krishna, Bhajo Krishna, Karo Krishna, Shiksha. Please chant Hare Krishna, worship Krishna's deity form and study Gita Bhagavatam. And people would say, you are so nice, coming to our door and giving us a Japamala, giving us a Bhagavad Gita, teaching us how to worship Krishna. We are grateful to you. Definitely we will do that. And some people adopted. And there would be some people, they would say, see, you are saying nice things, but you see, we don't have time, we are so busy with everything. Then you tell them, no, at least one round you chant. At least one shloka you read every day. And they would agree. And some people would say, no, don't disturb us. We have no time at all. We are too busy. Then he would fall on the ground offering obeisances. And after that, they would feel very bad. No, don't fall on the ground. Get up. For your pleasure, I will do it, they would say. And some people, even after offering obeisances, they won't do. Then what Nityananda Prabhu would do? He would roll on the ground. That's what he is saying. Yetabale Nityananda bhume gadi jai, sonara parvata jeno dhulate lotai, he is saying. So then those people would cry tears. They would say, hey, no, such a beautiful body, you are rolling on the ground. And don't be, don't do all this. And we will chant now. They will agree. This is how he preached. We can imagine, this is how we have to preach also. Actually, preaching requires a lot of humility to reach people. Therefore, His Holiness Mahavishnu Maharaj said, preach means Prabhu plus reach is preach. You're saying. That means reaching Krishna to the hearts of people is preach. So, to reach Krishna to the hearts of people, we have to take a very humble stand. And the more we are humble, we will be empowered also. More and more empowerment will come and then people will take us seriously. Prahlad could preach to the demons, can you imagine? Demons are all coming from demoniac families. Prahlad preached to them and made them all devotees and they were dancing with Prahlad. Prahlad was preaching in a very friendly mood with his friends, not in a superiority complex. He was always, his friends loved him very much for his good nature. In this way, Nityananda Prabhu preaches. So, this is Nityananda Prabhu, same personality, Balaram or Ananta Shesha. And tomorrow is Balram Jayanti. I am sure you all will hear some lectures, more pastimes of Balramji directly. Balramji's role you will find in Vrindavan, very, very beautiful pastimes. And also you will find his role in as a Yadu also in the Dwaraka also with Krishna. But now its time is up. I can take some questions for 5-10 minutes. I can take. Yeah.
Yes, Prabhu. Thank you very much, Prabhu.
He is asking, is Shiva Adi Guru? He is asking. Actually, Charachara Guru means Guru of the universe. But Adi Guru is Balaram. Similarly, the best Vaishnava is who? Vaishnavanam Yatha Shambhu in the material world. But in spiritual world, best devotee is Radharani. Right now? So, if some people ask, is Radharani best devotee or Shiva? Then Radharani you should say in the spiritual plane. In the material world, Shiva is the best devotee. Similarly, Adi Guru means who? Balramji. But in the material world, the Guru of all the Jivas is Shiva, Charachara Guru. Correct, no? Yes. Balramji is actually Adi Guru who gives strength even to Shiva also. Shiva is his devotee. Yes. Yeah. Yes, Prabhuji? Vimal Prabhu, you can go ahead. Yeah.
Thank you, Prabhu, for such a wonderful and enlightening lectures. Many wonderful points you actually brought forward. Actually, before starting the lecture, my wife had a question, how to get consistency in sadhana. You started the lecture with that, actually.
Oh, really? Yes.
Wonderful Krishna's.
I think telepathy. Paramatma to Paramatma, telepathy, I think.
Yeah, now I'd like to request devotees, like if at all anybody has any questions, like you can please go ahead and ask. Any devotee has any question?
Actually, Balramji topic, one topic I spoke today, which is about Balram being Adi Guru. Tomorrow what you all can contemplate also is, another aspect of Balram is he's a powerful reciprocator. powerful reciprocator with Krishna, perfect reciprocator. In every pastime of Krishna, you will see that. So, I was speaking for our Kanpur and Pune in Hindi language, the same topic of, Balram is the best reciprocator. So that is another theme to meditate upon. And another theme we can meditate on how about Balramji is, actually in the best reciprocator, one more point comes. Although he is the first expansion of Krishna, he is always in the mood of a servant of Krishna. Although it's the first expansion, Prabhupada says there is no difference between Krishna and Balram except the bodily color. Prabhupada is saying, still he is in the mood of a servant of Krishna. That is something to be learned. And also we can see another aspect of Balram is the killing of demons. There are certain demons who cannot be killed by Krishna due to some promise Krishna had given to, Bali Maharaj, and like our Dhenukasura. So in those cases, Balramji kills. You will see those demons. He is also very competent. And also, I told you, Balram is Sevana Shakti. Ananta is also Sevana Shakti, because of which in all the 5 rasas Balram is serving. All the 5 rasas. Even in Gopi Leela, he is becoming Ananga Manjari. He is expanding himself as Ananga Manjari and serving. And as a equal friend of Krishna, as a Vatsalya Bhava, like Yashoda, Balram serves also. Controlling Krishna when Krishna goes in any other direction. So here we can find in multiple ways he serves. How he serves Krishna is another thing. His seva spirit. Because when you talk about Adi Guru, I spoke a little bit about seva spirit, but actually seva spirit of Balram itself is a topic in itself. It can be elaborately spoken, very important topic. Because it's called Sevana Shakti. So Balram as a Adi Guru, Balram as a Sevana Shakti, Balram as a powerful reciprocator. Reciprocator means when Krishna needs me, I will assist him in the way he wants me. And Krishna doesn't need me, I will not interfere. Like you see in Govardhan Leela, you will not hear about Balaram. Because in Govardhan Leela, Balaram understood that Krishna has to be the center in this Leela. Everything should revolve around him, because 7 days, 7 nights, devotees are going to see his beauty and have loving exchanges with him, and people in all the rasas. So Balram did not play any role in Govardhan Leela. Otherwise, he would have told Krishna, hey Kana, you are lifting the Govardhan hill, it will be painful, give it to me, I will carry it. He can say or not. And he's actually Balaram. Yes, Bala also. He can actually take away and he could have allowed Krishna to relax. Why he didn't do that? Because he knew very well that this is a pastime where Krishna is Govardhan Dhari. Let Krishna play the full role. I will not interfere. Whereas in other pastimes, like you see, in Kaliya Daman Leela, Balram comes and he is laughing and giving confidence to everybody. He is there in many other Leelas you will find. So Balram is a powerful reciprocator also, yeah.
A question, Prabhu, here on the chat.
Yes, Prabhu. Here is a question, I think. Yes, Prabhu.
One of our devotee, a young devotee, Madhu Prabhu, is asking why Maya is acting like resistance while we are in Bhakti, Prabhu.
Actually, Maya becomes prominent in us depending on our choice. See, Mamevi ye prapadyante Maya metam taranti, Krishna is saying. See, we are all law abiders in India, so we are living peacefully. If you're a lawbreaker, we live in the jail, isn't it? So we have 2 choices while living in a country. Same way, when we turn away from Krishna and come to this world, these two forces are acting. Krishna force and Maya force, 2 ropes. So we have to put ourselves, we can remember 3 A's, we can remember. Association, activity, attitude. So the intelligent devotee means who? He or she, they should throw themselves in association. And in that association, what happens? You will do activities. For example, I am coming to temple. What I will do in temple? I will take darshan of the deities. I will take prasadam. I will meet the devotees. I will hear a Bhagavatam class. I will chant and dance in the kirtan. I will purchase some book, Prabhupada's book from the stall. Isn't it? And I get a chance to share some Krishna consciousness with somebody. And I really, make my consciousness very divine. And the attitude, is elevated. So that's the meaning of 3 A's. Association, activity and attitude. Now, for example, I go for bad association. My old friends are pulling me, chalo, please come with me. Then I will do some bad activity. They will take me to some movie. And I watch some movie, some new illusion is put on the screen, and I become attracted to some hero, heroine, and I am attracted to some kukatha. Yanna brajantyagabido rachananubada shinvanti yenya vishaya kukathamatighni yastu shruta hatabagair nirvirata saras tam stang shipanti asharaneshu tamassu hantah. See Brahmaji in 3rd canto 15th chapter, very, very powerful verse. He's saying, Yanna brajanti means those people who do not read the pastimes of the Lord. Rachananuvadat. Rachana means the Lord's pastimes. Those who don't study them, what they do? Shinvanti, they hear. But what they hear? Anya Vishaya is saying. Other things. Kukata means all the cinema magazine, sports magazine and all that. Matigni, destroyer of intelligence, is calling. Yastu Shruta, by hearing those books and reading those books, Hatabhagair, they become devoid of good fortune in life. Dribiratta saras means that essence of human life is extracted out. They become good for nothing, he's saying. Dribiratta saras. Thams, shipanti. They are cast where? Asharaneshu, without any shelter. Tamassu, into the hell. Hanta, alas, like that he's saying. So Brahma is lamenting that people who don't come to good association, they go for bad association. And the bad association leads to bad activities. And bad activities leads to lowering of attitude. So therefore, intelligent devotee means we put in good association. One example I'll tell you. You all know the story of the monkey who was living in a jamun tree. He was eating jamun. But he unfortunately made friendship with a crocodile. And the crocodile would come to the bank of the river sometimes and ask the monkey, how do you do? The monkey would, one day the monkey's parents were out of station. So the monkey told the crocodile, my dear crocodile, how do you do? Tell me. Crocodile said, when I go in the lake, I get to see the beautiful greenish mountains. And I can see the bluish sky in the top. And I can see the vast body of water. And I feel like a free bird. I can move around. My life is very joyful. And by the way, you tell me, how is your life? And the monkey said, you know about my life. I am a Hare Krishna devotee. I am only allowed to eat this jamun prasadam. And I can't move around. My parents have told me, just be within this tree. Don't go out and connect with anybody. My parents have gone out. Therefore, today I am thinking of coming with you and enjoy the freedom that you are enjoying. Can you take me for a joy ride on your back? And the crocodile said, why not? Please come. So he sat on the back of the crocodile. And then the crocodile went in the water. And as he went, initially he saw the green mountains and blue sky and everything, was very happy. But in the middle of the lake, suddenly the monkey got fear. He started trembling. He said, my dear crocodile, your body is like a paper. And I am sitting on it all around, water all around. If I fall in this water, I will die. I am worried, he said. And the crocodile said, don't worry. Very soon I will reach you to my house. My wife is waiting to cook you up. She is going to make lunch today. He said, hey, what are you talking? He said, my wife has been doubting me last 4 or 5 days why I didn't come home. I told my wife that I have made friendship with one monkey in the tree. Now I have been spending time in the bank of the river, therefore I am late. She said, no, I think you have affair with another crocodile, another she crocodile. She was not believing me. Then I told her, no, I surely promise you. Then she told me, bring the heart of the monkey. Because you are saying monkey is eating jamun regularly. His heart must be very sweet because of too many jamuns. So we can cook for our lunch. Please bring that. Therefore, my dear friend, I am very sorry to say you have been my friend. But today I have to satisfy my wife. I am taking you to my home. He said, immediately the monkey understood, I am gone now. Immediately prayed to the Lord in the heart. Oh Lord, give me your the mattasmritirjnanam apohanam cha. You only give intelligence. Please give me dadami buddhi yogam tam. Give me some intelligence by which, if my life is saved, I will dedicate my life to you. He said. Immediately Super Soul sparked an idea. And then the monkey said, oh, you wanted my kaleja. That you should have told me before. I left it in the tree. Because I was just coming with you. I left it there. If you want, I can go and pick it up and come. Then the crocodile said, okay, chalo, I will take you U-turn. And he went back to the bank of the river. When the monkey jumped into the top of the tree, he said, "You rascal crocodile, get lost from here," he said. "Never ever in future I will associate with you. Huh? You are a creature of water, I am a creature of land. Huh? We should never make friendship. Water is a dangerous place for me. You are a non-devotee, I am a devotee. I should not have associated with you. Huh? I was about to be submerged in samsara by your association. Huh? I was saved now by the good intelligence Lord gave me now. Now henceforth, you never talk to me. You go your way, I'll go my way," he said. So this is a story which teaches us that, birds of the same feather flock together. Sri Prabhupada says interesting thing in one lecture. He says, sometimes the dogs quarrel and fight with each other, but they will live with other dogs only, he says. After the fight is over, they'll all be sitting in the same place. You will see them. He says, this is the meaning of birds of the same feather. Parrots you see in the sky, they fly together. You will find. Dogs you see, they're all bunched up together. You will find. Human beings, they are all together. Similarly, Prabhupada says, devotee means you may quarrel with devotees a little bit here and there, but stay with them only. Don't leave them. Don't leave them and go for somebody else. So, because, ultimately devotees are our shelter. Staying in their company only will be protected. So, I don't know whether I answered the question. I went for, correct. The question was about why are we attracted to Maya? Therefore, I told you, we have the choice to choose to be in good association. And that choice has to be carefully made. Satsangatva, Nisangatvam, Nisangatva, Nirmohatvam, Nirmohatva, Nischalatatvam, Nischalatatva, Jivan Mukti. 4 things are said here. Satsangatva, Nisangatvam. If you are in good association, bad association is automatically removed. See, you can't be in a cinema theater and in the temple same time. Correct, no? If you are in temple, then no more in being in cinema theater. Satsangatva, Nisangatvam. Nisangatva, Nirmohatvam means once you have avoided bad association, no more illusion. When you come to temple, when you are with the Lord, with the devotees, you have clarity of thought, clarity of speech, clarity of action. Nisangatva, Nirmohatvam. And Nirmohatva, Nischalatatvam. Nischalatatva is Krishna. One can see the presence of Krishna in one's life very clearly. And Nischalatatva, Jivan Mukti. Jivan Mukti means you are aloof from all bodily designations, material plan making and Maya's things. So we can become a Jivan Mukta even while being seated in the body. Nikila Ashwapyavastha su Jivan Mukta se uchyate. So actually, in the Bhagavatam it says, Shruta Sambritaya Chiram. Long hours of hearing is required, Bhagavatam says. Not short hearing, long hours of hearing Srimad Bhagavatam. Then only, just like for example, after you finish your prasadam, your hands are dry sometimes because you're talking to somebody for half an hour. Correct, no? Plate is dry, hand is dry. Now it's difficult to wash. But you put water in the wash basin, in the plate, completely overflood it. And then you just wash your hands and push off. After half an hour you come, you can very easily, you just do like this, everything will go off. You have seen that? Because the clinging, attached, things in the plate, they all come out very easily because of drowning it in water. Similarly, in our heart, we should drown the heart with the chanting of the holy name and hearing of Krishna Katha. When you keep a heart drowned, all the sticking metal attachments will be removed. They will all be removed and can easily wash it away. Unwanted things which are harming us in our spiritual lives, and that will be removed. The beauty of Krishna consciousness is, sometimes if you read the Mayavadi books and all, they will say, wife is Maya, children are Maya, the money is Maya. But actually, one who becomes Krishna conscious, all these relationships become purified. Affection of a husband for the wife and a father and mother for the children, when it becomes sanctified, it is the most fulfilling experience. When a father sees the children chanting shlokas, father or mother, when they see the children putting up a fancy dress competition for Janmashtami or something, or they're playing mridangam, like Prabhupada's father, Gaur Mohan was telling, I want to make my son a good mridangam player and singer of Gaudiya songs. So the parents feel spiritual bliss actually when they see the children taking part in spiritual activities. Similarly, when a husband sees the wife is assisting me in so many ways in my devotional service, he feels very peaceful in mind and satisfied. Similarly, wife has a husband who is a spiritually advanced devotee. She feels very strong shelter in such a husband. And a wife feels as if she is sheltered in Krishna himself. Such a stable husband, balanced husband, mature husband, spiritually advanced husband, trustworthy husband. So then a wife feels very confident. She feels, but Krishna sent me a very powerful personality. as my husband. So she feels very safe, peaceful, and protected. So therefore, advancing in Krishna consciousness will sanctify all our relationships and make our family a very happy spiritual family. All right. Now it's time. I have another program lined up. I have to rush now. Thank you, Vimal Prabhu and your good wife, and for keeping all this group of devotees lively in their spiritual lives and blissfully situated. So many years, many have been continuing Krishna consciousness, and I am very sure His Holiness Radhanath Maharaj will be blessing both of you for sheltering so many devotees and guiding them in their spiritual lives. Maharaj says that he was himself getting overloaded in 93 with too many devotees nagging him for guidance. Then he started the counseling system. And then he says, those counselors who take off my burden from my shoulder, Maharaj says they are my most, respectable, worthy disciples, because without their support, I can't take care of all my disciples. So you are doing a very, very laudable service and keep continuing it very wonderfully. In the same manner, the counseling means right from the time a person becomes a devotee till the point of death, we have to keep their Krishna conscious alive. And at any cross-section of their body, they should be engaged in some meaningful service. These two aspects. That means at any cross-section of life, they should be chanting 16 rounds, following 4 regs, blissfully situated as a devotee, wearing tilak, and coming to the temple, and then blissfully situated. And also doing some meaningful service. And if you can keep all these people till the last breath in touch with Krishna and Krishna's lotus feet, you have perfected your life. And your family, Vimal Prabhu's family, is sure to go back to Vaikuntha. Vaikuntha airplane will take the whole family back home. If you can keep all these people continuing their Krishna consciousness on behalf of your spiritual master. Thank you. Srila Prabhupada ki.
Yeah, thank you very much, Prabhu. Actually, thank you very much for taking out your precious time and sparing for all of us. It was such a wonderful and actually enlightening lecture, Prabhu. Each of your lecture, I think most of us in our group, each of your lecture, we derive so many wonderful principles and so many things, especially the application part. You very much nicely present the philosophy and also the application part. So in fact, we are always grateful to you, Prabhu, for your wonderful lectures and also your guidance, Prabhu, at each and every step of our life. So thank you very much, Prabhu.
Thank you. See, Vimal Prabhu, one important thing I didn't do today, which I did in our Nagaraj Prabhu's group. Next time you call me, what you do, every meeting I come, you will introduce me 5 families. And in advance, you will tell those families who are the families you are going to introduce, and they will make sure their video is working and their family members are all available. Next time I come, what I did in Nagaraj Prabhu's group, so he introduced the families and when they came to Krishna consciousness and what sevas they have been doing and anything unique to that family, special to that family. So he would speak and then one by one he went like that, and that takes about 15-20 minutes it takes. And then I gave the lecture and question answer. So I'll do that next time when I come. And we won't be able to introduce all the families in one meeting. That would take several hours. Therefore, whenever I come for meeting, 5 new families you can introduce me. And why we do this? By that I will come to know also some of the families, because some families have done some unique type of services. And some of them, like in some family, the children have done something very special, you can tell that. In some family, the wife is very active, or husband is very active. So you can introduce them accordingly, and I will also get to know them. And in this way, in Hyderabad congregation, every time I come to Bhakti Vriksha meetings like this, little by little, I can come to know all the residents of our community. All right? So
Sure,
next
Prabhu.
time, whenever you call me, you can keep in mind. Okay?
Sure, Prabhu.
Thank you.
Let us all express our deep gratitude to His Grace Radhesham Prabhu by loudly 3 times chanting Hare Krishna. Hari Bol.
वाञ्छा कल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की श्री प्रभुपाद की